Hey folks, guess what? I'm still sick. But of course, that would not stop me from producing my regularly scheduled Kirblog. This one, for this weekend, I put out a last-second, call to arms for ideas, and I got one today that actually ties back into another question that I was given a long time ago that I thought would be pretty relevant to this topic. So I'm handling two at once. I'm killing two birds with one Kirblog. Kill the animals. This comes from Cyberlink420, asking about celebrity voice casting in film, TV, games. When has it worked well, and when has it ruined something, etc.? So for those of you who know, or maybe I guess don't know, rather, that I am a massive voiceover aficionado, as in I'm a major supporter of the industry. I care a lot about the industry. The trivia and history of it is really intriguing to me, in addition to the fact that I have gotten the chance to do it. But that notwithstanding, this is something that has become not a fully controversial topic, but maybe a little bit, depending on who you ask. But it's something that I think definitely makes for an interesting topic because it's particularly with animation and games and that sort of like creative mediums. I think it's something that stands to be fought against by some people, and for the sake of the product, I think I also understand where a lot of people come from on it. So I'm gonna kind of go with something basic at the beginning. I think a lot of this was very much popularized, for those of you who maybe didn't catch this. Robin Williams as the voice of the genie, I think, was the one that really made celebrities be doing voiceover for animated feature films into a major thing. There had been quote unquote celebrities doing stuff like that once in a while before that, but I feel like Robin Williams as the genie was the one that really made it a big thing, where now they could it started the trend of how many big names can we slap on this movie poster to get people to want to go see it. The mentality has kind of two different sides to it. The kind of bare bones lowest common denominator reason, and this is fortunately or unfortunately true, whatever way you want to look at it, is, for instance, my stepsister Logan, who's a little girl. She grew up watching a lot of Disney movies and animated movies and things like that, because that's what you do when you're a kid, of course, and in America anyway. And my stepdad, Kevin, her father, she would watch a lot of these movies with Kevin, and he's a man's man. He doesn't care about cartoons, but if Steve Carell is going to voice this crazy bad guy character in Despicable Me, sure, I'll watch that. I like Steve Carell. He's funny. I enjoy him playing an exaggerated version of himself or some character he played in a comedy show or whatever, and then that will make the animated feature film that I don't want to watch otherwise tolerable. The truth of the matter is that is a very real thing that happens with a lot of very, very mainstream audiences that look at animation and they go, this is kid stuff. I don't give a shit. That's how it is. But the other side of it, which I think is fair, and this was pointed out by, again, I keep going back a lot to Doug Walker's, videos. He's been doing these Disney-cember ones where he's been talking a lot about Miyazaki films, and he's been talking about specifically how they get the best people to do this for their English dubs of the Studio Ghibli stuff at Disney. And I would argue that people who are actual heavy hitter voice actors, people like Rob Paulson, Jeff Bennett, Tara Strong, etc. A lot of those kind of folks are the best people that do this. But the other thing is, I think that the other mentality is that when they get celebrities who are kind of just playing themselves or staying pretty, close to where they are in terms of their vocal range, it keeps a bit of a realistic sort of grounding to it, so that it's like, who would be the perfect voice of, a talking ice cream cone? Oh, this celebrity, because they are kind of like a talking ice cream cone, as opposed to this voice actor who could, do some kind of characterization that would be wacky and cartoony and out there, etc. People think, oh no, but if it's just based in a sense of reality, it works better. Now, if you really want to just kind of ground it down to, whatever, it is what it is. It's the product, it's the movie, I'm just going to watch it, or, show, etc. Something that I remember that stuck with me for a while. Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku on Dragon Ball Z, once said at a panel, I don't care as long as they sound good. As long as they're giving a good performance, then it doesn't matter. Now, on one level, I think that's totally valid. And, this is coming from a guy who is a working voice actor and not a celebrity. Somebody who, I guess, would stand to be pissed off about not getting even a shot at getting to do something like that. Because that's the problem is, a lot of these voice actors don't even get the opportunity to audition for parts on major animated film. At best, sometimes they'll provide scratch tracks for the celebrities to then come in and imitate. The other thing, too, is, for instance, I love the 4, big names that were on Wreck-It Ralph. John C. Reilly, Jack McBrayer, Sarah Silverman, etc. And, but I look at the behind-the-scenes features at them working with the director, Rich Moore, and I hear the performances that they give during that, and I think, how much are these people having their hands held, to really give that perfect performance, or is it really because they're that good at being able to do voiceover? Because this is the thing. This is the thing that a lot of working voice actors point out. Celebrities, when they're faced with a microphone in a booth and they're used to being able to act with their entire body, sometimes they don't always know what to do. They're just I don't know how to do a intense look, arching my eyebrow at this microphone to give a good performance or whatever. It's a completely different ball game. So a lot of times they have no idea what they're doing, and there's been examples. I think personally, for me, kind of going back to Schemmel's point, is that I think that there are cases where it's very obvious, the celebrities sound like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I help. They come in and they do this stuff, and they're just whatever. There's very few examples where I think they give truly bad sounding performances. There's very few that I think ever slip through the cracks that are that bad. The other thing too is on another side of the glass, Charlie Adler, who's he's also one of the best working voice actors in the industry, and he's a director, and he's worked with celebrities and stars on animated features. He directed the Wild Thornberrys movie and the Rugrats movies and a lot of that. And he pointed out that a lot of times they're scared because they don't know what they're doing. Whether it's Nickelodeon or whatever company is hiring them, to be the name that they slap on the poster as the special guest star or whatever. Because with Rugrats, it's we're tied down already. We have the cast of the show and they're all voice actors, and where can we put any celebrities in the first place? It's, I know, what if we have Spike the dog have a speaking voice for the first time, and it's Bruce Willis? And then you have, other voice directors like Chris Zimmerman, directed tons of stuff, lots of video games and things. She'll be like, oh man, Bruce Willis was terrible at voice acting. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and, behind a microphone, but he's a great actor on camera. There's so many different sides to this situation, but I think it comes back to, the question of, what are my opinions of it? I guess from a producer standpoint, I do understand, why people feel the need to do it in the first place if they really are convinced that it's going to move their product. Because the fact of the matter is, it's been proven that that stuff does move product. It gets people's asses in the seats to go see it with their kids or whatever, or pick it up on DVD. If they see, certain celebrities slapped on it or whatever, market does Will Arnett is the voice of the talking squirrel in this fucking movie you're not going to go see otherwise. I do think that it is unfair that real voice actors, people that make a full living doing just voice acting for animation, I think that it is unfair that they don't get the chance to even audition. Rowan Atkins Downs, who's the voice of the medic on TF2 and tons of other shit, he had a sad story about he got brought in to do something on Pixar, and he accidentally was called into the wrong part of the office and was reading for something that they were like, yeah, you're not even supposed to be here, because it's oh no, God forbid that a voice actor and not a celebrity or a live action person or whatever, would be allowed to try for this. There's very rare, cases like somebody like Jim Cummings, where it's this is the voice of Winnie the Pooh, and we're not going to get a celebrity for this under any circumstance. We'll slip in Craig Ferguson as the voice of the owl, but we're not going to change Jim Cummings, who again is an actual voice actor, to be Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. So there are cases like that where it's thank God. another interesting victory on a little trivia standpoint. I was told by someone who worked on Pokemon many years ago. I'll keep their identity secret. If you know them, you know them. But they told me that at one point, I would assume it's probably Warner Brothers or something, were thinking of actually getting celebrities to do the first Pokemon movie. And I believe Leonardo DiCaprio as Ash was something that was cited. And I just absolutely, I think I dropped my drink in shock of hearing that. And thankfully, again, it didn't happen. We were blessed to have the cast of the actual show get to do the movies, and that's been the case for all the movies. But I digress. I do think it's unfair that they don't even get a shot. That I think is something that should change, and I because now I'm going to tie this back into myself. So for me, when I started doing Tome, one of the things that I had in mind for when I was producing that show was that I wanted to have special guests in the same kind of way, that say an animated movie or show or whatever, would do that. By the way, a little side note, I think for video games, it doesn't matter because nobody cares. Whatever that game was with like Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page, both great actors. I would never be convinced to go buy a game because celebrities are in it. So just on a side note, video games in particular, I don't care. I don't think most people care, but that's a whole nother whatever. Anyway, if anything, actually on that same note, I think that more people are inclined to want to buy a video game if it has actual voice actors in it, like Jennifer Hale or Nolan North or Troy Baker, etc., who are voice actors. Okay. Anyway, so more on hand. So for when I was producing Tome, one of the things that I had in mind ahead of time was that I wanted to have special guest stars because that would have helped with, promoting when an episode would come out. It's, I can, announce that this person will be voicing a new character, etc. Now, on one hand, for me, a lot of my celebrities, quote unquote, are actual voice actors. I've been very fortunate that, those of you who've been following the show, the Net King characters, a lot of the new guys that have been appearing in season 2 are, people like Yuri Lowenthal, John St. John, Todd Haberkorn, Michelle Knotts, Kyle Hebert, etc. Mona Marshall and Bryce Papenbrook as some of the other characters, etc. Ben Diskin. These are actual voice actors. But to me, those people are my celebrities personally because they're the ones that, did everything that I cared about and that I idolized and that I learned from, and et cetera, and that had a major impact on me, et cetera. So that was a big thing. Now, here's another point. I'm gonna whip another question out because this is relevant. This is the previous question that I got on the Tome Facebook page from Evan Perkiss. I have a possible topic related to this. Do the characters' personalities influence which actor or actress you choose to play that specific character? I.e., did you choose Martin Billany to play Nylok because of Nylok's enthusiasm and sense of drama? Okay, so here's something interesting about this. Originally, I did not want to have Martin play a main character in Tome because I thought if I gave him one of the main cast, it would have come off way too transparently as, you're just using Little Karibo as a main character because he's Little Karibo and that'll get people to watch it. Because, and I'm not going to name names, people have done that. Martin is a fantastic actor, and that please nobody take this the wrong way at all. Martin is awesome and he's a pleasure to work with. But I'm saying that there have been people in the past who cast him. There we go. Specifically just because he's Little Karibo, and sometimes they'll give him characters that aren't necessarily fit for him. In my case, I thought of totally different people for the part of Nylok for a long time. But in the back of my head, I was thinking, Martin would be perfect for this part. And eventually I reached a point where I was like, no, you know what? It would be a mistake for me to not have Martin play this character because he is perfect for it. So what if a few people think that it's transparent or like it's easy or whatever? It's just stunt casting or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, I can't imagine anybody else, playing this character like he could. Certainly not anybody in my talent pool at the time. And he's made this character so stand out and unique. Even if it was like featuring Little Karibo, it's like, yeah, sure. But like, he loves that character genuinely. Nylok has had a major, impact on people who watch the show and enjoy it. He went from being annoying to some people to being, now he's the fan favorite, continually. Like, people love Nylok, and part of it is because of Martin's amazing, hilarious performance on him. And on that same note, for other characters, like JonTron on Sniper Wheel, etc., I try to give everybody something that would either fit them or challenge them. Like, for instance, a lot of the Net King characters, those are like personality types that I've never heard a lot of those voice actors get to do very often before. But I know that they're capable of doing them. That's why I wanted, like, Yuri Lowenthal will be great as this, like, kind of asshole sort of character. Or like, John St. John would be great as this, like, old kind of, like, New Yorker kind of dude that sounds like my dad, et cetera. There's just a couple examples, but yeah. So like, even with that, I tried to keep something different and creative and fitting in mind for each of the quote unquote celebrities that I worked with, celebrities in this context, I guess you could say. Kind of sticking with that same thought as well, just to add to this, it's a case by case basis. Like for like some of the indie games that I worked on, like Black Hole and Cryomore and a lot of those, I gave everybody a fair shot. I prefer a lot of the newer folks who haven't had as much exposure to get something, of course, but I always try to make it fair and square, usually by leaving the final decision up to the clients, because a lot of the times the clients don't know who anybody is, and therefore they're being fair and objective. They're just, they're picking who they think fits best for the characters that they've created, or who gives the best performance, etc. And that, I think, is the most important thing. So the bottom line for this is, I think I think it's fair to even the playing field. I think it's unfair to stack odds, when it comes to like, this is star power or whatever. I think that's a little bullshit for sure. But I think that when it comes to, even just as a consumer, even just somebody watching shows or movies or playing games or whatever, the performances have to be good. That's what it comes down to. If a celebrity gives a good or bad performance, it's on them or the director, et cetera. If a regular voice actor gives a good or bad performance, it's on them and the director as well. It doesn't matter in that case. It has to do with just is the end result good. I think that's the most important thing. And sometimes I see people get a little too caught up in the nuts and bolts of it, but that's what I think. But again, I'm a supporter of new talent. I'm a supporter of people getting a fair shot. I'm a supporter of people who are good at what they do, should be rewarded, and not people shouldn't just be given, handed something, given a free pass to, get to do something just because of whatever, just because they have a name, because they've done something or whatever, et cetera. But again, even with celebrities, they went from a person to a master of their craft to being very well known. 9 times out of 10, I feel like it's warranted. So that's fair as well. There's a lot of different sides to this. I'm curious about all of your sides. Please tell me in the comments below. What are some of your favorite examples of this? In a Disney movie or a Pixar movie or something like that. Where you really liked a celebrity voicing a character, or did you like the regular voice actor playing their equivalent in the TV show or the video game adaptation? Did you think that they were a better fit, or gave a better performance? What do you think about this whole thing in general? Do you think and do you agree that actual animation voice actors like who specialize in that should be given an opportunity to do more stuff that's with a bigger name like this, or do you not care one way or the other? What are your thoughts? I'm curious. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of different sides and a lot of different opinions about this, and I want to know. Let me know, and if you have ideas for future Kirblog topics, leave a comment about that or hit me up on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, all the usual, and that'll do it. Thanks for listening, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts as always. Till next time, I'll see you around. Bye, folks.